Alrighty, welcome to section 6, part 6, where we're going to start in the editor doing our AI setup. So we're going to start with go into our plugin to RTS entities content, and under framework, and under here I'm going to create a new folder called AI. Another folder called behavior. Here I'm going to create under AI, create a behavior tree. And I'm going to call this BT for behavior tree, and I'll call it keys or main or something like that. So this will be the tree that sort of drives other trees down the line. Not going to do too much in here. I'm going to go over this in another video, but put a weight in here for now. All right, we'll put a selector, a weight. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. They can be empty. Come back to that. We do need to create a blackboard. So go new blackboard, put it in the same folder, and I'll call it DB for blackboard, entities, I'll do actually. And that'll be assigned there now. Alright, so that's all we need for now for there. So those, they're saved. Now we need to create our data. So I'm going to come into data and create a new folder in here, AI again. And I'm going to create a new data asset, search for my AI data. This will be DA AI data. And I'll put this one, this is, so that's a AI data for a particular, I'm going to call it character, the generic, let's call it test character. So in here we have our defaults for our site, our perception I should say. That's all good, I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to assign that behavior tree we just created, and I'm going to assign the AI controller base class we created. I believe we need to make a blueprint of that. That's actually no, sorry, I'm going to create it to the project one. So yeah, if we can change the inheritance, we won't have to come here and change it. And the data type we need to add. So let's do that. Project settings, asset manager. AI data. Point it to our class. Directory is the one we just created. Goes in plugins, entities, framework, data, AI. That's all good. And then while we're in here, we'll also add our team data. So we'll add another one. We don't have a folder for that yet, but data asset. And for the directory, we'll make another data folder, teams. All right, that's that. So now we've created our AI data, but we need to assign it to our entity now. So we'll come into our entity data. So we've got this test entity here, and then we have our AI data that will assign that AI controller and behavior tree and everything to this, whoever uses data. Oh, sorry, in here we have to assign the data type, AI data. Okay. So now let's create a team data. Call it DA team data, and we'll call this one blue. Blue, and the data type is team data. Now these are these parameters that we're talking about. So add one here, So this is the parameter name. So what were we changing? Changing the selection box for the player. Come into materials. Okay, so it's just an image at the moment. Alright, so I didn't realize we didn't create a material for that, but a minute. We will create one. So let's go to use materials, material. Change this to interface. And hold 3 and click to get a color. Convert that to a parameter. Change it to box color. So this is the parameter that we're looking for to change in our theme color settings. So I'm going to default it to white. So yeah, you can see the parameter name. So in our team data, this first one will be box color, and we need to pick a blue. Will do. So that'll then go through all the materials that are assigned to whatever we tell it to. So we told it to check the selection box border and get the material and change it to. It will then go search these parameters, change the box color. So I might just put a scalar in here for now, so I don't want to spend much time on this material. I might come back to it. I'm just going to hold S and click and just change this to transparency. And I'll put it over 3. That'll do for now. And create a material instance out of that. Assign that to our brush in our border. You want the material instance. That's changed it to, oh, it's got it. Now back in our team data, there's some other things we want to change. So we want to change the highlight color and the selection decal color. If we come into the actual material for the selected decal, we can see we've got a generic color here, but I don't want to use a generic color because you're going to find a lot of things are called color. So I'm going to rename this parameter. What was this? I'm going to call it decal color. That's specific to this material. You'll probably find if you just leave it as color, it's going to find color on your character materials somewhere or something like that. So make sure it's got a big name, even maybe prefix it with like your project prefix or something. But the in the theme data now, I can add another parameter, and I can say decal color. I'm going to copy this blue. This I think I need to set the transparency on here. Otherwise that is going to come through solid. And then for our the highlight outline, again, don't want it to be default to color, so I'm going to change the name. I'm going to call it highlight color. And another highlight color. Now you can do the same for scalar, so float or textures and things. So we'll just, so like these are all scalar parameters, right? You could change the different settings and whatnot on this. So if you, I don't know, if you want to teams that have different settings, but sometimes you have you'll have a scalar parameter 0 to 1 that's turned something on and off. I've done that in materials before, so you might want to change that something to off if they're a certain team or something like that. But anyway, let's... So this is the number of players that can join this team. I'm going to change this to 1 for debugging so they don't end up on the same team, so we can test both teams. And that's our team data, right? So now I'm going to create a second one. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to change it to red team. And I'm just going to change these colors now to some red, probably not pink. Okay. That's all the same. So now we have 2 teams. And now we need to assign this team so they get used. And if you recall, that was in the game data. So we need to come up to core. And it's got available teams here. Want 2. That hasn't properly. That should only show the team data here. That's the teams assigned now, so it should create the instances of those teams through the team manager when we start up. Let's just do C++ for a second. In for data asset, so that's game data. Available team, oh yeah, we don't have the meta allowed type. Why? Will be data. Yeah, that'll fix that. I don't need to worry about it now, but that'll sort that out for next time. The other thing we needed to do is come into settings, core settings, and assign the team manager component. So this is the teams manager here. So I think what I might do, I'll just press play for now, or it's saved. I'll just press play, see if we get any sort of, I'm going to view. Oh, so the colors are working. I'm obviously red team, so that's worked. So let's do 2 players. Yep, so I'm blue team on this screen. And, oh, no, didn't work. We're on the same team. Before we start debugging that, I just noticed the box selection wasn't working, so... Oh, we just crashed. Ah, I know what that, I think. Oh, since we're in C++ now, I will fix that by default, I believe, all pawns register as a source. So we need to come to the default ini, and in here, there's a setting for AI site sense. So AI module. And the setting we're after is called the auto register. All pawns as source. Or says, I think it is. And that, oh, okay. And there's another one similar. It's auto register new pawns as sources. Yep. I think that'll fix that crash. Either way, we don't want the players to be in the perception. Like if you pawn or your camera around, it's going to sense the pawn. So I think that should fix it because we're adding it as a sense. The things we want to be sensed, we're adding it as a source. And yeah, so I'm pretty sure you probably noticed the box select was still white. So I think I've got an idea of why that is. So I'm just going to come to the player controller and we've got our box selection widget here. And we're creating it. function, which is only creating the first time when we hold. So what I'm going to do is take this out of here and put it in begin play. So it was trying to set the material on something and it was null, so it just wasn't doing it. So if we don't have a box selection widget, we'll create it. And then it should be good to go when we go to do it, or when we go to set the team. So let's debug our team manager. So let's have a step through here. And to save total other confusion, I'm going to come to the loadout data and get rid of, confirm that this group only has one unit. No, it has give it a better name. And then my loadout data. So that just gives us one unit on one team to debug. That there, and then one. Getting to here, no worries. Adding the teams. Should have teams is empty. Correct. So here, oh no, teams data that is, sorry. Yep, got the blue and the red team. It's going to load the assets. Create teams info. Check we get through all this. Yeah, so it's created the team, added the team. So let's stop it here. Now all the teams should be created. So we've got 2 teams. Actually created a default. We didn't create a default team in the editor. So back teams, duplicate this and call it. Now we have to call this something very specific. So if we come back to the core static game data, it has to be named this. So that, and we'll give it some default color. Right. Stop that. That. Now I'm just going to breakpoint here, so after it's created all the teams. And now we have 3 teams. Blue, red, and default. So that's good. After assign players to team, right? So We've got the team's ID array, and it has 2. Team 0 and 1. That's because there's no default team in the team starter, and that's what we want. I want the default team to be an assignable team. I detected it as spectator, it's good. Got the player state. So their team ID would have equaled no team because we haven't assigned it anywhere else. See there, team ID is 255. Let's go on, I need to assign you a team randomly. Randomly assign team 1. As an available assigned. So it's removed team 1 from the team's ID array. Possible character there, I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, so that's returning. I think that's right. I think it's the second player we're going to have to debug now, so it should be team 1, which is red. I think that's right. Yeah, team 0 is blue. Just before I go on with that, I just relaunched after I hadn't rebuilt after we changed the box selection. So the box selection color should now be updating. So team red and it's red. And team blue and it's blue. That's good. So after much screwing around, we're going to learn a lesson here that I learnt a long time ago, but I haven't done for this series, is that you should implement actual multiplayer from the start. So what's happening is the way the editor runs multiplayer, it's not true multiplayer. So there's no session, there's no connection. In the back end, it runs more like standalone games. So what's happening is I'm getting 2 game modes, 2 game states, and I'm ending up with 2 teams managers, so there's no way that I can show. As I was break pointing through the code, I realized that the teams weren't being assigned to the next player, and I'm like, what's going on there? How come it's not assigning the team? But it was assigned the team, but it was just they're assigning it to their own team manager in their own sessions. So I'm now going to have to decide whether I want to implement multiplayer into this tutorial series, which I think I'm going to have to. Just avoidable when you get to this point where you can't test. But if you've got multiplayer implemented, you should be able to see that it's all working. One change that I will suggest is coming to the core game state, and on this game data loaded where we've got the register for the teams manager, take that out of there. Because you really only want that to be registered once, and the way I'm doing this on game data loaded is it's kind of doing it multiple times, but it should only do it when the game data is loaded. This will just ensure that it only runs that once. Other than that, I can't really show a test. If anyone is having trouble with it, I am available on the Discord. Come and see me and I'll help you through it. Before I wrap this video up though, I'd like to actually see if, change this back to 1. I just want to see if perception's running and they have their perception component. So once you're in the game, if you press semicolon, you'll get the AI debug. Press 4 and 5. You should be able to see perception, which I cannot. Why is that? I check a few things. So it helps if you have this where you need to call it. Been a long day. Go. So there's our perception. Nothing to perceive at the moment, but I'm going to need multiplier to test it properly. So let's attach the perception to the head of the character. The first thing just in here will come to the character that we created. So plug in character and go to, well, we actually need to go to the skeleton. So you could do this on whatever character you're using. So I'm just going to the manning simple skeleton here. And we just need to add a socket to wherever we want to attach to. So for us, the head. So we're just going to add a socket onto here. And I'm just going to call it, yeah, that's fine, head socket. And then we just have to make sure that X is facing forwards and Z is up. And then we can position it wherever we want. I position. And we just need to remember that name, like copy it later. And come back to the C++ and the character. Go to our character. We just need to override a class. I think it's public virtual. We get actor eyes location is what we want. Or viewpoint. And we just need to update these out locations to the location of our the mesh, so the socket, sorry. For the perception, you don't really want any roll. I'd do this in a rotator. And with the pitch 0, you don't want any of that either. So like the perception to be on a flat plane, you don't want it tilting down and up and everything. So they only want the yaw. So this will be get the socket rotation dot yaw, and then this will be and for the roll. The socket yaw should be good. I'll relaunch that. And there we go. Now, from eyesight, and once you put in animation and stuff and they're rotating and turning around, or you put in a random look or whatever, they'll be looking around and perceive different things based. You can see it's moving now with vital animation. Alright, gonna leave that there. If you're enjoying the series, give us a subscribe or a like. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next part. Thanks for watching.